Welcome to your favorite podcast, the place where your potential climbs to new heights, one podcast at a time. Welcome, guys. Thank you for joining us today with your favorite podcast, one podcast at a time. Today, we're going to have a really interesting topic where we're going to talk about the 5 love languages. So, first of all, what is a love language? What do you think?
From what I read, is like the emotional state of how you can transmit love in an emotional level. Because a love language, it could be for anybody. It could be directed to like a friend, your mom, your siblings, your partner, yourself. So
Your kids?
so definitely is something, a feeling of feeling loved in an emotional level. That's what I think a love language is.
I think it's also like certain ways that we can express love and experience love as well. Because, not just saying, oh, I love you, you're like, the person already knows that you love them. But
Yeah.
not just saying it might be what you mean, or they probably don't even know that you love them.
Yeah.
Because there's different ways. And especially I wanted to touch that because there's a book out there that explains them in more detail, where you can learn, and you can like learn which love language you are, so that you can be able to know how to love yourself as well, and also like the people that you love.
Yeah. And we're talking about the book. We have the men's edition here. This is the Five Love Language by Carri Chapman, and it's a really good book. And I'm very happy and blessed that this book was recommended to both of us. And I didn't know there was a love language. I just loved him how maybe I wanted to be loved, not necessarily how he wanted me to love him. So I think that really did help us like learn each other's love language.
Yeah, likewise with me too. I didn't know. I was like, what? Like 5?
Just love me.
Yeah.
But what does that mean?
Exactly. And like in the book explains it a lot. Besides being a men's edition, there's also like kids edition, and then like your romantic partner, how to love them as well, because they're different stuff that you can do for them to love them. And I guess we can just touch on them. We know, well, there's 5 obviously. The first one is words of affirmation.
Yeah.
How would you say that one is?
Or like, for example, like if I like Jose, if he does something like, oh, thank you, babe, for doing this. So for me, like if I do something, like maybe I want to be recognized for it. And not so much just like with Jose, but like at work too. Like if they say nice things to you, you feel good.
Yeah.
Some people, yeah, they feel good, but it's not like that's not their language. So it's just like they just brush it off. But like I feel like when that is your love language, like you really take it and you're like, yes, I feel appreciated, and it feels good.
Yeah. So any word, like even like to yourself, saying that in front of the mirror, like, oh, I love you, Patty, and stuff like that. That also helps. Like, if you don't have someone to tell it to you, then just tell it to yourself. And that's one way of using that one.
I mean, talking about that, I feel like that is a way that like I learned to like truly love me, like to just remind myself, like when I was pregnant, like, oh, your body is going through a beautiful transformation, and just saying good things to you, like, it really does help your mental state of how you feel about yourself and how you love yourself.
Yeah, that one's good. The other one is physical touch, and not the naughty touch.
No. Not the naughty
Yeah,
touch. I think all the love languages like the naughty touch.
But physical touch, that's the personal one that I'm mainly it. I like my husband to hold my hand. Even when we're walking, just having a walk with the kids or walking to the park, I want him to hold my hand, because that just makes me feel like nice, and I like it. Or just even I like hugs a lot. So like, you give me a hug, you show me that you love me, and I don't know that you love me.
Yeah, and I was debating. That's not my. There's a primary love language. Is that your primary love language?
The primary is physical touch for me.
So that's not my primary, but I thought that was my secondary like love language. And then I realized that I think I believe it's words of affirmation, because when Jose tells me like, oh, you look beautiful, like even like a text message like, hey, I love you, like it's just random, like it just makes me feel so good. But like the whole holding of hands, we've never been very touchy. I'm touchy because I like to touch, But like I remember our friend, well, they're not our friends anymore. But they were like, because they're very touchy. So they're like, how come you guys don't hold hands? And I'm like, I don't know. Like it never crossed my mind. And I feel that it never crossed my mind because it's not my true love language. Yes, I like it, but it's not something. I don't feel unloved because I don't get touched. But it does feel nice when we hug, and when he gets home, we give each other a kiss. But I think I would be like, if he said like, oh, I miss you, or I missed you today, like those things, I feel like they fill the gas tank. What's it called, the gas tank? The love tank. The love tank.
Yeah, the love tank. So yes. Up. Yeah. The next one is receiving gifts. Well, that one's not like, I don't. That's probably like the lowest one of mine. Like, I think so too. Like if my husband comes with like flowers, it'll be nice. Like once in a while, maybe on special occasions, that'd be like nice, But maybe receiving gifts would be like every day, then probably that would be kind of nice for someone. Yeah. But it's not mine.
So, no, it definitely isn't mine either. It's nice. I told them, don't buy me flowers anymore. I just don't like that they just die. I'm like, you can buy me a plant so I can, I feel like they last longer if I take care of it.
Yeah.
I'm like, or just buy me chocolate. Like I will be perfectly fine with just chocolate. But like you said, it's not my love language. I do like it, but I don't feel unloved because of it.
Same.
But it is nice to get gifts here and there.
Yeah.
Plants, not flowers, please.
The other one is quality time. Yes. That also is one of my top ones. Yeah. I enjoy the quality time with my husband. Even if it's just me, him, and the kids. Like it's nice. Like, even just watching a movie and like being like cuddling or like grabbing a blanket and just being there. It's like, it's so nice. Like it feels so nice, and like I don't know.
I agree. Quality time is my primary love language. And from what I was listening to is that like you can go back in time in your childhood and how you were loved, or maybe how you weren't loved. And I feel like in my case, I kind of lacked that quality time. So then now that I'm bigger, it's like that was my love language as a little girl. And I wasn't getting it as how maybe I thought. And I do remember being like, how come my parents don't love me? Not so much my mom, but like my dad would be like, how come my dad doesn't love me? Because I wanted that quality time. But I didn't know about the love language, and he doesn't know either. I should inform him about it.
Yeah, right. We should inform him so I can show you.
Definitely, like if we sit on the couch, I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's not really spending quality time." But like if we sit on the couch and we watch something that we both like, I love it. With our glass of wine. Now, if I'm sitting on the couch and he's there and he falls asleep, to me that's not quality time. Agreed. Like you just fall asleep on me, and I feel it. And I'm like,
why you fall asleep?
Yeah,
you missed it.
Yeah,
like, so it was so good.
So quality time for sure is my love language.
Me too. Yeah, like, and I agree with you what you said. Like, also before I met, like, probably our parents didn't know about it.
Yeah,
and they couldn't really express it, or they probably thought like, oh, getting you a gift would like show you something.
Yeah,
and I saw that too, like as a child. Yeah, like, I would get gifts sometimes from like my mom, my dad, and I'd just be like, oh yeah, thanks, you know. But that's it. Like, and I guess going back to it and thinking about it, I would have liked it more like if my mom hugged me a little bit more, or because like we had like not a difficult relationship with my mom. Like it was there and there, and mainly like since she was like mainly working, and um, I didn't really get to see her that much. So yeah, like now thinking about it, I reflect on it. Like okay, like maybe I should inform my mom and tell her like, hey, you should
I
hug me
think
more and stuff like
definitely.
that.
It's funny because why I thought my love language was touch is because like I go to my mom and I'm like, can I have a hug? And she like that is not her love language, touch. Like she's just like, why? Like today, I'm like, can I have a hug? And then she didn't say why. She actually gave me a hug, and I'm like, oh, I'm like, I love you. So touch. Going back to it, it is my love language. But uh, what I was gonna say is that when I was younger, my parents concentrated on my brother so much and his soccer that like they kind of left me aside, and going to like quality time, like it was just like soccer, 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 like Marco, 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 Marco. And I'm like, what about me? Like, and I wanted to play soccer so bad, but my parents are like older and they were old school. They've come to like kind of like be in the now. But back then, they're like, you're a girl. Girls don't play soccer. I'm like, what do you mean? Marco plays with little girls. So like that really did hurt me. So definitely quality time. It's my love language. Yeah, and my daughters too.
That reminded me about like you asking your mom about a hug and stuff. I saw like I think a reel on Instagram or something, and it said like in the letters it said like when your husband is not um physical touch, and then like the wife is hugging him and he's just like this, and then like I think in the background it says like in the little music it says like how long has it been? It's
No,
like
no.
it's just like the like it says like it's only been like 20 seconds. Like I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
like
but that's really nice. Like, I mean, that real it's nice because it's it's the person that's not physical touch, but the wife is, and the husband is really doing the effort to show her that, and that's really nice from that.
Jose is not physical touch. Like he's
So you
not.
ask him to hug you, and
I just do it. Like I don't like. Sometimes it depends. And it's funny because going back to my mom, she'll be like, you asked me for a hug at the wrong time. And Jose's like, right? She does. And I'm like, every time I ask for a hug is the right time.
yeah.
So Jose's not very, like, he doesn't need that, I guess. And I hug him, and not, he obviously accepts my hugs and we love each other, but it's not his. But I like touch him, like I caress him, when we go out, like I'm always touching his head, and he loves it, but it's just not like, do it to me. Can you do it to me, please? He's like, I'll fall asleep. I'm like, just like for a minute. But yes. And acts of service. Acts of service is the other love language.
Yes, the fifth one. Acts of service, I think, would be like, kind of helping out your husband and wife around the house. Like maybe brooming and maybe him brooming and you mopping after him. That would be like, I think that's acts of service. I'm not that one, but
Jose's that one.
Yeah.
He's acts of service, and then he's words of affirmation, but his is acts of service primary because that's what he likes to do. He likes to help out. I saw him the other day, like the neighbor. She was throwing out her garbage, but it's like a little old lady. I'm like, why are you guys in that? Like, there's so many young people in that house, and she's the only one that throws away the garbage. And here goes Jose, and like, oh, let me get that for you. And he always, like, if he sees her, he'll do it for her, and he just likes to give like acts of service. I don't know if that's how you say it, but even like at the house, like he cleans the whole house, and I appreciate it. And he tells me, he's like, that's how I want to be loved. That the food is ready by the time I get home. That things are ready. He's like, because I feel like I feel loved that way. So I'm like, okay, yeah. So I do my best to do everything. I try my best. It's hard with 2 kids. It's hard, but he shows that to me a lot. The acts of service, but that's not my love language. But I do appreciate it. And then going back, words of affirmation, I'm like, oh, I'm like, you cleaned the whole house. I'm like, you did great. And sometimes he'll be like, you're a superwoman, and like that is words of affirmation. And I'm like, thank you. But I kind of like when he says that, now I feel like he's saying, you're my slave. I know he
Harsh.
doesn't mean it that way, but it's just like I do so much. You're a superwoman. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm the maid? Like that's why. Now I'm taking it in a bad way, but you know that I guess we are superwomen.
Yeah.
We do a lot of things at once.
Yeah. But well, my husband is words of affirmation, so I know that for him to like feel that love tank that he has, it's just telling him like, I guess just mainly telling him like, oh, I appreciate him, and
Mm-hmm.
telling him, oh, I love you, you look great, you're doing an awesome job with
Yeah.
taking care of us, and I know that he really enjoys it when I tell him that stuff. So
Yeah, that's
I've
true.
learned that because before I didn't know. Once I knew, and then when I read the book and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
words, like, oh, yeah, okay. I was like, that was a little tough for me to start with, but like just knowing like what type of words to say and
Yeah.
stuff like that, it helps.
Yeah.
And he knows that.
Well, also too, like I feel like once we know, like we can tell each other, like this is like
Yeah.
because how will they know like if we don't tell them, or they can ask, like I remember one time Jose did get mad at me. We had like a little argument, and he's like, you don't tell me you appreciate me. I'm like, what? I'm like, I don't. I'm like, but I do. And he's like, but you don't tell me that. And then like
Mm.
it like reminded me, like, oh yeah, his words of affirmation.
Yeah.
And so he didn't say like this is what I need necessarily, but like he did say like you don't say it to me enough. He's like, you stay home with the girls. I go to work, and you don't tell me anything. I'm like, I'm sorry. And I tell him too, like like what I need from him. It's not a demand. It's just like like if we want to fill each other's love tank. This is
Hmm.
what is what that's what I like.
You think knowing once you know the love language, that helped you out a lot in like
Yes, it did.
maintaining and like a
Yeah.
healthy relationship
Hmm.
with. So,
Yeah, it definitely did because before like we would show each other's love language, but it was my language, me showing him, and
mm-hmm.
vice versa. Like that's it. There was nothing out of that. So once, and I didn't know, like you said, we didn't know, but once we learn, I'm like, okay, well that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to know your love language, be sure to like. There's a quiz also online that you
Mm-hmm.
can take. Just search it up, and it'll pop out, and so you guys can
Yeah, we
know.
can link it in the
Oh yeah,
comments.
we can link it up in the description,
Mm-hmm.
and so you guys can take it.
Yeah.
And I guess how more can it help you? The love languages. I mean, I guess it helped me a lot to understand me and how, like, I want to be treated and how to be
Mm-hmm.
loved mainly because,
Yeah.
imagine like being with someone and then that person doesn't like, you already know, hey, no, that's not, you're giving me gifts and that's not my love language. Like, you don't love me and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And you already know, like, no, I don't like that. Like, do this and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really helpful because, imagine like being in a relationship like that and then like it's just not working
No,
out.
you're not getting the love that you want.
Hmm.
I think like how it can help you is, and how it helped me is like not just in my relationship, like I said, like with Jose, like also with my girls. Like now I know their love language, and it just makes so much sense. And other people would be like, oh my gosh, my child is so needy. But it's because they don't know that love language. It's not that the
Hmm.
child's being needy, it's that they
Yeah.
want that quality time, or they are a little kid that wants the physical touch.
Hmm.
Like Emmy loves to be hugged and smooched. And because of the book, I'm like, oh, her love language is physical touch and is quality time. You would think that she's like gifts, but she no, like yeah, she gets happy about a gift, but she wants me like to play with her and
And
spend
be
that
with
time
her.
with her.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
my baby, she's a baby, but I could already tell that she is not physical touch because you try to love her and she's just like, eh. And I'm like, oh, Emmy was so lovey dovey, and it's not lovey dovey at all. But I will find out her love language. She's still a baby, but I
Yeah.
know it's not physical touch.
Cross that one out.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she'll change, but Emmy, since she was a baby, she was very lovey dovey. But and it just helps you in your relationship if you apply it. Because if you just read it and that's it, that's it.
Yeah,
But
definitely
apply
apply
it,
it, yeah.
and it's funny because sometimes we'll be like, well, if he doesn't do it, I'm not gonna do it. Well, that's two negatives don't make, well, how did
Don't
that?
make, yeah,
Like
two negatives don't make a positive.
or something like that.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct us if we're wrong.
Yeah, two wrongs don't make a right, okay? And I feel like that's how I was. Like, if
Okay.
he doesn't show me, then why do I have to show him? So reading these books, and not just this one, but other books, but this one is like, okay, well, I already know what he likes. Why not just do it and then
Yeah.
see what happens after that?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, for the ladies out there or the men, like, just do it. Like, you're gonna see a change, and then your love becomes more strong. But if you're in a place where just like, no, I'm gonna change, or I'm gonna do these things when he does it, then it's just the ego talking at that point.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if you want to find your love language, like we said, we'll put the quiz, read the book, and just apply what it says.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, mainly that's what we wanted to explain with the love languages, from a girl perspective, because the guys are also gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that video as well.
We don't know what they're gonna say, or they don't know what we're saying, which is nice because we'll see how they feel about the love language.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see their video.
Me too. So thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Don't forget to like, subscribe the videos. If you like this video, just put it in the comments, and any suggestions of other videos that you guys want to see, because let us know.
Yeah.
We're open to talking about any topics.
Anything,
yeah.
How we feel, or things that could help you guys out. Maybe we've been through situations that can help someone out. Like in this situation, we read the book, so we understand that we need to fill that love tank. Yeah. Even like friends, Yeah. Now I know. We'll go get our nails done. Yes. Yeah. Even in friendships, you have to fill their love tank. So definitely, yeah. How are we gonna be friends if we don't
know our language?
Yeah, that's crazy, right? Yeah. What a love language can do. Just a little side note before we finish off. They asked the author, like, do you think there's another love language that he has encountered? And he's like, nope. He said people try to like tell him like, oh, to like if there's another one, and he's like, no. And they try to like tell him like, what about like if I just like chocolate? And then he's like, well, that falls into gifts. He's like, or if you like acts of services, then the person will make that for you, like
make your chocolate.
Or another person, well, my wife likes shopping, and he's like, okay, well, that's quality time, or probably just quality time, right? And gifts if you buy the white stuff,
take her shopping.
So
shopping spree.
Yeah, so I think like a lot of things that how we feel love definitely fall in those 5 categories.
Yeah. So well, thank you for joining us with your favorite podcast, one podcast at a time.